Hello, everyone, and welcome to another horrific review. Chris and I are back as we Klaatu Baruda Nectu with the Ash vs. Evil Dead series. Ash
I
has
said
spent
all the words.
almost. Ash has spent the last 30 years avoiding responsibility, maturity, and the terrors of the Evil Dead until a Deadite plague threatens to destroy all of mankind, and Ash becomes mankind's only hope. Sounds like my last 30 years.
I love it. You know, it's funny. I read on I was trying to do some research to see how this series was received. Because I didn't watch, I might have watched one or two episodes, but it was so long ago, 2015 I think it came out. So I just wanted to see like how was it received at the time. And there was a lot of people that loved it, but there was some of the criticism I saw online was ridiculous. Like someone online said, "Oh, this is such a ridiculous plot." Like, yeah, have you watched the movies? If it was a if it was a plot that made a lot of sense, it wouldn't have fit in.
Mr. Auteur, But here's the thing: you have to know what you're getting into. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
it. And this does exactly what it says on the tin. I refer back to everyone talks about the 2013 Evil Dead remake, where basically they tried to make female Ash, and they made one little mistake. Right at the end of the movie, you get a cutscene. Just goes to Bruce Campbell, fades him in. He goes, "Groovy. Ash versus Evil Dead coming soon." Like everybody forgot about that movie. Like literally at that moment, that movie was forgotten about. What?
Yeah.
We're getting an Ash versus Evil Dead series? Right. That was it. That was her sequels. Whatever they were trying to do, blown out of the water, and they did it themselves. And I just think it's hilarious.
Which was the one that tried to take itself too seriously?
Oh, Evil Dead Rise.
Evil Dead Rise, right? Like
Yeah.
you have to know like the success of the movie. And I think the original success of Evil Dead, some of the comedy was not intentional. Like I remember from what I was reading that it came out that way in the editing room and also just some of the effects because it was such a low budget and it was very early on in Sam Raimi's career. So some of the
Like his
comedy,
first or second attempt at a movie.
yeah. So some of the comedy of the original one was unintentional, but it was like a cult hit. So then
Mhm.
when they made the second one, they knew they had their eyes wide open that the comedy part, and Bruce Campbell was excelled at that, at the comedy aspect of it. And I think they started to lean into it. And I think that's the success of the genre. And so if you take it too seriously, if you're online complaining that, oh, the plot made no sense, then you're not getting it. So yeah, I knew going in, and I had a blast with this. I was
Yeah, but
telling you before we started,
that's
I like,
online people, though. There's
yeah,
that idiot who will spend, instead of actually doing anything, like, they'll not even do this. Do you know what I mean? They just sit on
yeah,
forums, go, and that's it.
yeah, yeah,
And they'll have 100 avatars, 50 different accounts, and they'll go on they're the ones that like aren't horror fans, and they'll go into horror fan accounts, groups and stuff, or things they're not a fan of. They'll go on it just to go me 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 me, and you're like, well, if you don't like something,
why
go
are you
find something
here?
you do.
Yeah,
Off you trot. Have a nice life, and don't worry about it. But
yeah,
that's you know what I mean? That's a broken minded person that gets on like that.
yeah. And I think we've talked about it before, the intention of the movie and like the truth in advertising. Like if you know going in the type of movie that it is, then you could forgive CGI, or you could, because like the point is that they're trying to entertain you and make you laugh. If it's a movie that takes itself seriously and they have like a message and they really want you to focus and get the seriousness of it, then you're going to notice all these little mistakes because they're coming at you from a different perspective, and you're
That's it.
so I
If you don't get the intention, okay, they're not trying to entertain me, and you're
yeah,
annoyed, then you start drilling down, you just nitpick. Where
yeah,
if these people want you to have a good time, they've tried, you tend to be a lot more forgiving.
exactly,
It's natural.
yeah. I absolutely love these first two episodes. I laughed, like I said, about 50 times. I was it was great. Just the character of Ash has to be one of the all-time great characters.
And
He's
he's dialed
just
it up the 11 for this.
Oh my gosh, yes. His machismo, his confidence, cockiness is just borderline insane, especially when, you know, he doesn't have a lot of money. He doesn't have like a great, you know, all the things that you're supposed to be bragging about in today's society. I just love that he just takes it to the nth degree. And he's the man. I mean, everyone wants to be like Ash.
Yeah,
He's awesome.
you would love to just like, yeah, just not give a shit and just go through, and when it matters, that's it.
I would love to I, I would love to be this guy for a day.
But we'll have to talk about the corset. Like,
Yeah,
wow, even that
yeah.
looked like it was pages of the Necronomicon. Like when you see him putting that corset on, it looks as if it's like the human skin or something. Like it's, I think it's purposely designed just to make you go, huh?
Yeah. I love that he's Bruce Campbell, the actor, is willing to make fun of himself. Like he has that line with the cashier where he's like, all right, so I'm 10 pounds overweight, and she looks at him and he's like, okay, 30 pounds overweight. I just love that combination that he still doesn't care. He's still going to be incredibly confident and cocky, even though, you know, he can make fun of himself at the same time. That combination to me is the best, you
Yeah, and
know?
that's and there's something about owning it and just like going, yeah, I'm here, this is it. But I'm happier than you, and I'm not going to stop trying.
Right, right.
I mean,
I
it's
love that.
he's what I would regard to as an inspirational character. Yeah, it might be all the wrong ways, but still, it's that whole, yeah, I don't care. I'm here to do what I do.
Yeah.
I just love the fact that he has it timed perfectly. If you go to the bar just before last orders, there's that one tramp there who's just waiting, is already sozzled, so you don't have to like spend the whole night. You just go buy one drink and you're sorted. Just, they're already there.
Yeah, yeah. I love the whole opening of this. Like they don't try to take too much time getting into the plot. Like they're just like, yeah, this is what happened. You know, he got high with the girl he's trying to impress her, and he read the book. Like, what are you gonna do? Like the first 2 minutes took care of like the entire backstory. All you needed to know was in
Yeah,
that first 2 minutes. It's like, yeah, don't worry about it. Let's just have some fun.
he just kept it with them, and yeah, he hears the like, oh no, the Deadites will come back. What's happened? And it's just lifts up the book, and the back he falls. That's that whole flashback. Oh my god. I still laugh at it. Like I said, I've watched this about 4 or 5 times, and I still laugh. I can't help it. It's not one of them. Do like a lot of comedy things like The Hangover and stuff. You might giggle or something the first time, but that's it. You know, once the punchline's gone,
Yeah.
that's it. You watch it again, you're like, huh, all right, okay. You can't see it coming.
Right, right.
This
Yeah.
is not like that.
This definitely, I could see this definitely having repeat viewing power, you know, like even though you see some of the jokes coming, it's the way he delivers them that makes you laugh. Like I ended up watching this twice because I watched it like a week ago, and then I watched it again last night because I wanted to have it fresh in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And I laughed at the same parts, the same exact, you know, amount. So that tells you that it's the writing is crisp and the acting of it, the performance of it, because it's
Yeah,
tough
that's
for
it.
comedy to have repeat laughs on the same, and he definitely garners that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we'll cut to Carson and God, what's her name? Oh my god, Fisher, Amanda Fisher, are visiting this cabin or this house that's been abandoned.
What'd you think of that scene?
Yeah, it was. Then there's one. I just wonder why police detectives have radio mics, and then they're apparently they're special agents, but like proper tooled up radio mics, as if they're special, as if they're Secret Service or something, or
Yeah, I was trying to figure out like why did they have backup with them? Or they didn't have like police uniforms on, so maybe they're sort of part of some like you said, special investigative team. And then I realized that this is not the kind of show, so that I stopped thinking about it. But it did seem strange that it would just be the two of them in their civvies, as they're called, investigating this house. But it was still a cool scene and better special effects that I was expecting for a TV show.
Yeah, they really went over above and beyond to put this together. I think a lot of camera work as well. I mean, they've really made use of camera work.
Yeah. I loved it.
But you go into a dark, abandoned, haunted house, you find a body, and then you see someone just standing up, rising with a sheet on them. And your thought isn't to either shoot first or pull the taser or something. You just stand there, These people haven't watched horror movies before.
Yeah. I was thinking during that scene, this is why I can't be a cop. There's many reasons, but this is one of them, because I would not have approached and pulled the sheet down. I don't know if I would have shot them per se, but I would have like thrown something at them to make them take the sheet off.
Or hold on, they're already partly wrapped up.
Yeah.
Doink. Duct tape.
Oh, duct tape. Yeah.
There you go. Bundle them in the back seat. Job done.
Well,
Unwrap them later at the station,
Yeah, I would have been too scared to even approach, though. That's what I'm saying. I'm throwing furniture at them until something happens.
Big chair over the back of the head.
Yeah, that's my approach, and that's why I'm here with you.
But I love we get our first introduction to a Deadite again after a bit of time, and it's back to old school looking Deadites, because that was the problem with the 2013 one. Yeah, different. Was that Scott Derrickson?
Oh, the actors
did that one. I know Lee Cronin did the like super serious one, which I thought was strange because I saw his movie The Hole, and it made me wonder why they chose him. And then when I watched it, I wonder why they chose him. I've yet to rewatch that movie fully. I've started and went, nah, I can't be bothered. So that tells me everything I need to know in my own head. Where I can flick this back on and be like, yep, I'm here for the ride.
Yeah. Oh man, this is
I could have just binged the first series again, but I held myself back.
I know, me too. I definitely we wanted to go to that third episode. So there's 30 of these. There's 30 episodes, I think I read.
Yeah, 3 seasons. Yeah, 10.
Yeah.
Does season 3 have 10 episodes, or was it? It got a bit messed up between season 2 and season 3 because Stars dropped it and then it got picked up for the final season on Netflix.
Gotcha.
So I don't know if there's 8 or 10 episodes for the third season. It gets a wee bit disjointed.
But at least we have a bunch, which I'm really looking forward to based on these first two. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, we meet the first Deadite and just proper, let's go for it. And yeah, Carson, you kind of knew he was going to bat.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. The big strong police guy never
with
lasts
the shotgun. Yeah, that's the guy down first.
Yeah. The only question is, would he be able to take one of them out before he goes? And not so much.
I think we got that answered quite swiftly. But here's the thing, right? Fisher has a hand cannon in her ankle. Like mini ballistic, like her normal service pistol, like just holds bullets. But that thing that just has strapped to her ankle, it's like ballistic missiles or something, or cannonballs.
That thing was sweet, yeah. Yeah. Why is she saving that? Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be the one you'd lead with.
Yeah.
Boom, head explodes.
Yeah. I absolutely always work backwards from your best gun to your worst, right? That's like the common sense, I feel like.
Yeah. Although you'd have a sense of no, because if you start off with your best gun, it doesn't do anything.
Oh, that's true. So just psychologically,
diminishing returns, yeah.
But I always go with the Burt Gummer school of defense against horror creatures, and he started with that elephant gun in the basement. It was in the bunker.
No, that was the one he had to break out and get loaded.
Oh, okay.
Remember that was the finishing piece?
He came. I remember him shooting the thing in the basement, but he started with
Yeah, but that
something
was
else.
one. Remember how they break it out of the case and then they were still shooting away while they loaded it?
Oh yeah. Okay, that's true. All right, so maybe you do start with the smaller gun first.
But yeah, that was some serious like firepower.
Yeah.
And then during Stardust we found out basically Carson, yeah, you what are you doing turning up a crime scene and stuff? Like your partner's murdered and we think you might have done it. We're all being a bit wary of you, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because it was just the two of them, and there's no signs of anyone else, and it does look very suspicious. I'm surprised she was allowed to roam free. The first two episodes, because that did not look good. That crime
Well,
scene.
if she didn't, then obviously she wouldn't be a part of the plot.
Right. Yeah.
So, um,
Yeah.
yeah,
But what was her story? Like when she comes back to the precinct and she's like, "Okay, look, this is what happened." Like that conversation's not going to go well. I'm
because the
surprised it
thing with
didn't.
Deadites is once they're dead, that's it. They remove themselves, so it's just a normal person left.
Yeah.
So it's not like you see a demon. It's yeah.
And if she told the whole truth, she probably would have been in an insane asylum. So I wonder what she actually told them. She had to tell them like half truths and stuff just to not be locked up
Yeah,
somewhere.
not wear a padded jacket.
Yeah.
Your jacket, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
and again, it's one of them things you just kind of have to.
Right.
Yeah, okay. We'll gloss over that because
Yeah. Yeah, I have to shut my brain off for parts of this. Yeah. But it's crazy fun though. And she was good so far. I didn't find her to be
no, she's a good character, honestly. And
yeah.
there isn't a bad character in this series. Which
So
another point I'll make is why did they make uh Evil Dead Rise? Why didn't they just let Kelly and Pablo? Like, when you see how they progress in this series, they were perfectly primed to be in their own movie.
okay. Yeah, I mean, 2 episodes in, there's no character that's really like annoying me that I can't wait till they get off screen or they get killed or something like that. And for a TV show, that's pretty good. There's usually one or two characters in any ensemble TV show that you're like, this guy again. So 2 episodes in, flying good with the cast
No,
so
I think
far.
there's just such a buzz and an energy, like getting involved with the Evil Dead franchise with like Sam Raimi and all's involved as well. And,
Yeah,
yeah, how could you not want to give it 100%?
yeah. Now he couldn't have directed all of these episodes,
No, no,
right?
no, it's not every no, but he's a showrunner, so
Right.
and Bruce Campbell's the executive producer.
But as far as directing, did he just do the
No, I think
pilot?
it's different people. He did the first couple of episodes and some later. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Okay. Because I love his style. It's so particular and fun. The zoom ins and the angles and everything like that. Like there's entertainment and fun in the way he shoots things, and you can't really say that about any director, right? Like the
No,
actual
it's hard.
camera work
Yeah.
is a part of the story, a part of the fun, right?
Like I said, I'll refer to when they gave him the Spider-Man series.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2, that scene with Doc Ock in the hospital, that's pure Raby.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And he just took it right to the line. He's like, how far can I push this?
Nah, he's great. Yeah.
Like, I remember like basically cheering in the cinema, going, yes, go on. It's going to be one of these movies.
Yeah. No, he
He
did a
did. He
great
took it
job.
right to the line with that, the whole scene. And like, remember one of the nurses like scraping at the fingernails and stuff, getting dragged.
Yeah.
Like, never get that again.
No. No, he's great. It definitely there's unique. There's no other Sam Raimi out there.
Yeah. So obviously the major change from the normal franchise is that Ash no longer works in Quickie Mart or Kmart.
Yes.
He's had the change, which yeah. I don't know if it's quite the same.
But in my head canon, because the colors were the same of Value Stop, it looked like it was in the same location. In my, again, this is just me. I imagine that this is like a subsidiary of the S Mart store. You know, because if the S Mart store is supposed to be an analog for Kmart, you know, they've had to, you know, branch out and do like a lot of like dollar stores and 99-cent stores and stuff like that, to try to capitalize on that section of the marketplace where they, you know, they go to the blue collar worker. So I imagine the Value Stop is a part of the S Mart. If
Yeah,
it again, I'm weird. That's not something you were
it
expecting me
doesn't
to
have
say.
the shop smart, shop value smart stop. It doesn't have the same.
It doesn't. It doesn't. But the coloring was the same. Some of the sales signs looked very similar to the Army of Darkness one. So I think it's the
Who
same
wears a
franchise.
blazer to work at a retail store?
No, that's true. Well,
That's
yeah.
some serious serious business right there. But
I love that they didn't change his character. There's so many movies and TV shows that take a character from the 90s and they say, well, okay, he's got to be different at 30 years later. I know I won't say the S word, the Star Wars, but you could see what they did to Luke's character in the Last Jedi. They butchered it. A lot of shows and movies do that. The fact that they kept him in the exact same place, it almost reminds me of Cobra Kai. The way they did Johnny is the same person that he was, which is great. It's just it's a lot of fun. You don't want to see your heroes, you know, older and different and curmudgeon-y. You want them to be the same that they were, which I thought was a smart approach.
But also, he's doing the hero. He's basically having the hero's journey anyway, because he's ran away from everything. He's just pissing his life away, and
Yeah,
he's just working in retail because why not? That's what he knows.
he seems happy though. You know, he's goes to the bar. He seems to like his life. He's, you know, like he didn't seem like depressed or
Most of
anything.
it, that's what I mean. That it's one way. If life deals you lemons, make lemonade. You know that's not a bad attitude to have.
Yeah,
You just go
yeah,
for it. You know why let anybody or anything say nah you're not good enough or tell yourself you gotta try.
right.
We all have those moments niggling in the back of our heads. Oh God, such and such is doing better, or I'm not having the success I want. But then if you do that, that's your road to self destruction. If you let those voices take over, that's it. You're done.
Yeah, it's almost like the Olympics. Like you could be the fastest runner in your town, but then you go to the city and there's someone faster, and then you go to the state and there's someone faster, and then you go to the World Olympics and there's someone faster. Like there's always going to be someone, whatever field, whatever thing you're measuring, that's always going to be bigger, better. So if you keep trying to be the best and comparing yourself to other people, you're always going to be disappointed. You really just have to compete with yourself, you know? And if you're better than you were yesterday and you're doing something that you enjoy, then you're winning.
Yeah. And if there's somebody doing something better, you just go, what are they doing? And then you go, are they doing something that I can do? Or it's something that against me? Look at this whole YouTube thing, for example.
Mhm.
I could look at a streamer, getting thousands and thousands of views and stuff and hundreds of people joining in live chats.
Yeah.
And I go, what are they doing or what are they talking about? And then I look and go, do I want to talk about that? No. So
Right.
there you go. That's it. It's an easy answer. If
Yeah.
someone's doing something that I want to do or I'm doing and they're doing it a bit more polished or I can take inspiration, yeah, happy days. I'll 100% go with it. I think that's a different mindset you have to be in.
Yeah.
And
That
Ash
makes
sort of does that. He's like, yeah, groovy. That's
sense.
it. How
Right.
one word has become iconic throughout horror. And you just hear that word and you're like, yep, I'm there.
You know exactly the person in place. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, God, those poor light bulbs, like, you're just like, imagine working with somebody like Ash though every day and you're trying to run a department.
Yeah, and it is strange. I'll try to hold off for a little bit, not to go into it too early. But we'll circle back to that.
Mm-hmm.
Keep put a pin in that. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But yeah, this is where we obviously first meet Pablo, who absolutely idolizes Ash. And you're just like, okay.
It's a great idea for a character because Pablo represents all of us, in the '90s that
What do you mean
love.
the night? It's still now.
Oh,
Like,
still,
honestly,
yeah,
Bruce
yeah,
Campbell
yeah,
puts a tweet or something out, bro. Like,
yeah, yeah. You're right.
I'm going to do something. Yes, I'm there. I'm there. We're not
Yeah,
worthy.
a buddy of mine met him. I think in the late '90s, early 2000s at a book convention, and he's exactly as he is in the movies. Like, there's no acting. Like, he is Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, he
You
just
know?
does that sort of sarky thing, but at the same time,
Yeah.
he actually an arsehole, but there's a soft edge. You don't. If he was an arsehole, he wouldn't be universally loved. So I think we all buy into the character.
Right. Right.
We buy in that effectively we're all getting trolled. But then he comes up like, yeah, you put my kids through college and my shithead son failed the first year. So I'm sorry, folks. I have to do another 5 of these. You have to pay for him to do the next year. But thanks. He throws things at Garin, makes it real.
Yeah.
That, every part of his success down to he does not unappreciate his fan base.
Right.
And that is rare.
Yeah. It's admirable. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he gets it. Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, we get the first appearance of Pablo, and he just absolutely idolizes. And the reason Ash still has a job is because Pablo basically covers for him.
He does. Yeah. Yeah, man, there's so much I want to go into, but I'm gonna wait. Yeah. I'm gonna hold it a little bit longer. But yeah, I have some theories about how he still has his job. But Pablo is a great character, though. I think, like I said, he represents a lot of the fan base, and it's just a great way of a little bit meta, of this is all of us appreciating that Bruce Campbell is in this show, and it's still the same.
Yeah, so. And not shying away from being older.
Right, right.
Like that's a big thing as well. He's not trying to be young again. He's not doing better. He's fully embracing the fact, yeah, I'm older, blah blah blah, and it's part of the joke.
Yeah, and I also like that Pablo wasn't a younger version of Ash. Like, he didn't have the confidence. He didn't, wasn't awesome at killing things the way Ash was, even for the very beginning. Mm-hmm. Like, I like that he admires and is a huge fan of.
But don't forget, Pablo doesn't know any of this even at this point.
Yeah,
he's just true. Feeding off Ash's charisma, just natural charisma, and understanding there's something there.
Yeah, he doesn't know the backstory. That's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
And then we meet Kelly, and that's like, if he just doesn't give a shit.
Like, he just walks right up to her and
it's like, yeah, I could have you, and you wouldn't be able to stop me because I'm the man.
He apologizes to her that he has to leave because she's gonna. Yeah, you just met her. I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
What a great approach.
But once again, that's setting up for the pay. That's like the wooden plank of the slapstick, because that's setting up for the payoff later. What a payoff we'll get.
Yeah, her character. It's interesting casting, because I get from the first moment when he lays his eyes on her, and the fact that Pablo is clearly in love with Kelly also, that she's supposed to be, and I think as written, the character is supposed to be like drop dead gorgeous for them to have this reaction. And just my personal taste, I didn't see it initially. I didn't know why they were reacting in that way. But it's funny, over the course of the 2 episodes, she's really grown on me, and I'm guessing that happened in the casting.
You carry on with that, and I'll cut your hand off. And then he's like, right, let's just clarify. Are you going to cut off the hand that's already cut off, or The other one, and then she's like,
Yeah.
what?
It's a good question. There was a comedy, I think it was from the 80s, Spies Like Us. Did you ever see that with Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase?
Oh God, yes.
So they're basically they somehow luck into like a spy, a Russia US spy organization, and at one point they get captured, and then a Russian guy is like terrorist or whatever is saying, I'm gonna for every wrong answer I'm gonna cut off a finger, and Chevy Chase says, mine or yours? Yours. I was hoping you'd say yours. It just reminded me. It reminded me of that sense of humor, which I absolutely love. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And I think I was worried, or sorry, a bit dubious about a Naked Gun movie coming out, but I think they get it.
Yeah, like you mentioned from that trailer, if
Yeah.
they're willing to make fun of certain
The
things.
obvious.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. If they're going to go there, why not?
Yeah.
As long as they get it.
There's got to be a certain political incorrectness to be funny, in my opinion. Oh, at least a little bit of it.
Well, you're late, but you're here. We were late anyway, starting because.
Flea, thanks for coming, buddy.
Yeah, we're a bit late on the uptake today because I only got in like 10 minutes before the stream, so it's like.
It's all good. We're here. That's the main thing.
And then we'll go back to, because obviously Fisher is going to be a main character in this, and we're getting set up that obviously they're going to intertwine. I'm gonna meet Lucy Lawless's character, Rose.
Briefly, right? She was in the diner. Yeah, I've heard that she's supposed to be a bigger part of it, so I was expecting more.
Think about it. You're not going to get Lucy Lawless in this unless she's got a major role.
Yeah, she wasn't going to have that one line. Yeah.
It's not just going to appear as a random character. Like, it's okay, right? You're like, okay, right. We're back to Xena Warrior Princess days. The whole gang's together.
Yeah. No, I can't wait to see what her character brings to this. Again, I must have seen the first one and maybe one other one randomly, but it was so long ago and I don't remember it. So this is all new to me. So I'm definitely hooked.
Honestly.
Yeah, I'm hooked already. Yeah.
But this is where, it just kicks off. Like we're not even halfway through the episode, and straight away, like so much has happened. It's all setting up. Like basically, Ash is just in to get his paycheck to leave. That's it. He's getting out of Dodge. He understands shit's about to hit the fan.
Yeah.
Sure enough, he gets the kung fu dolly about to go for him. He just knows.
Yeah. So I guess this is as good a time as any when he goes in to get his paycheck, but he definitely is treated differently. And it's surprising that he even has a job. And it got me thinking.
You did get thinking again?
I did. That's the only time I make this face. This or when I'm in the bathroom.
Well, we know what happens when you start to thinking.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. It's a theory. It's a Chris. It's a theory. Chrissy Chris. Chrissy Chris. Chris's crazy theory. Hit me.
Flea, we waited for you, buddy. See, perfect timing. So yeah, I mean that's just a question that was bugging me a little bit. And I know it's not the type of show to overthink, but I am's what I am's. It's me and Popeye. We both say that.
We gotta do it. Have you seen that yet?
So I started to think, what's that?
Popeye the Slayer Man?
No.
Oh, no, you gotta get on. You gotta get on board with that. That is so good.
I watched your review of it. Yeah,
that is so good. You gotta watch that movie.
But yeah, so we start out with an image of the value stop, which again, in my headcanon, is still a part of the S-Mart corporation. It's got similar coloring. It's got some of the sales signs look the same.
Shop for props. Shop value stop.
Well, Kmart did something similar, and S-Mart is a metaphor, or it's definitely referencing the the Kmart of the real world. So I do think that this is a division of it. And so he's been in the same place for 30 years. He's told us that. And he's still a stock boy. And it's interesting because, like, here he says, hey, Mr. Roper, who's the manager, not the owner. And that's an important distinction that we'll get back to. So Ash says, any way that I could pick up my check before I can go? And look at this guy. Look at his smile. He's having a great day. He seems like a nice manager. Immediately he turns. Are you really going to use your fucking lizard as an excuse to get out of work again? And then he says, look, and he uses an off-color slur that I won't use on the channel. But it's okay that he says it because his gardener is a huge one. I love that line. I could use that word because my gardener is a huge one. Yeah. But he says, you think he says you think you can't get fired because you have seniority. By the way, seniority is not a thing when it comes to retail. This isn't like teaching where you get tenure and you can't be fired. So that's not an actual reason, the fact that you've been there a while. And then he says, I know all about you. And this is an interesting look that Ash gives him when he says that. This is a knowing look. This tells me that he doesn't know all about him, that there is something more. And at first I'm like, well, you know, he doesn't know about his backstory of saving the world, you know, time after time. But I think it's more specific to his job that he doesn't know. What do you... Yes, I'll take questions now.
No, it's just yeah, we'll not go into it because it'll be massive spoilers if you haven't seen this.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Ash
okay.
has
So maybe
a bit of a reputation, let's just say, and it's the fallout of the movies.
A reputation. Okay. So maybe I'm getting too close to the truth, and someone with a big bag is going to come in a second.
Don't do it again.
That hasn't happened yet. As it turns out, 99% of my theories are blasphemous, but this could be the one. But yes, there's something more that I feel is keeping him employed. And we find out more from Pablo. He's like, you're the coolest thing in this place. You take naps, you come in late, or don't come in at all. So he's a stock boy. It's not like he's risen in the ranks and he now has some sort of executive position where he has, you know, importance. Like he's a stock boy, which I'm not disparaging them, but I'm just saying it's not a position that would grant him some, you know, job security. So the fact that he hasn't been fired yet is very curious, and I think there's a reason why. So he says, you don't come in at all.
The bloke covering his arse. That's the bloke covering his arse. That's the reason right there. Pablo's like basically told him he covers his backside, and that's why he hasn't got fired, because Pablo makes up the slack, because he absolutely
How old would you say? That's an interesting thought. How old would you say Pablo is?
I'd say late 20s. Early 30s.
Late 20s. So how long do you think he could have been working here? 4 or 5 years tops?
Yeah, not that long.
Not that long. So the fact that Ash has kept his job for 30 years here at the same position, Pablo couldn't have covered him
there because he moves about, does he not? Am I picking up something wrong from you?
No, he's been in the same place. He's literally been in the same place for 30 years. So what I'm thinking is that there's a reason why he's still here. Pablo couldn't have covered for him the whole time. So look, I did some research, as I'm wont to do. And, you know, the turnover rate for the food retail employees is about 48 to 50%, much higher than the industry retail average of 20%. And the average tenure for a stocker is usually less than a year. So the fact that he's been a stock boy for 30 years at the same company leads me to think that there's more to it. And it's more than just the fact that he's late all the time and, you know, misses a lot of work and breaks things, as we saw with the light bulbs. Like, he's not a great worker. The first time he meets this new cashier, as we talked about, he says, goodbye forever, Kelly, and tries to touch her. So let's add sexual assault to the list of minor infractions that I expect this was a common thing that he's done over the years. So again, why is his employer, you know, allowing this? Well, it's not the manager. He's not in charge. So someone above the manager is keeping him here. And the manager, in fact, acts differently. When Pablo says, I'm leaving, he says, you're leaving. He goes, no, you're not. And he gets very, very angry. So it's not that the manager is lax. Like there's something different about Ash that's keeping him here. And it's not seniority. That's not a thing unless you're a teacher. So I think that to find the answer, we have to go back to the end of Army of Darkness. When he returns to the store, he kisses a girl who's been named as only Jenny.
By the fluffy ending?
Jenny from Yes.
You're going by the fluffy ending? Right. You know there's two endings?
Yeah, there's an alternate ending, right? Where he's in like a dystopian future apocalypse.
Yeah. That's only one I really knew. I only found out about this fluffy ending like later. Because for some reason in the UK we got the proper ending. I was like, okay.
But I think this is the one that the show takes place in. Otherwise, where's the apocalypse? So at the end of the movie, he kisses Jenny and has the famous line, "Hail to the king." All right. And if you didn't believe me that he kissed her, I have photographic evidence. So he does kiss her, right? So what I think happened is this. I think this is a better view of her character, Jenny, played by Angela Featherstone, I believe her name is, the actress, known as the hot copy girl in the TV show Friends. For those three people in the audience that'll know what I'm saying. But anyway, this actress named very attractive girl in the 90s. I'm sure still is, but this is her character, Jenny. And what I think happened is, there's a lot of CEOs of companies that have started at the bottom. And I think Jenny rose to the top. She's still in love with him from that kiss and the fact that he saved the universe in that time. And I think Jenny, from the end of Army of Darkness, is the CEO of S-Mart and its subsidiaries, including the store he works at. And she keeps him employed out of love. And that... How do the kids do it? I don't know how the kids do it. Thank you. Thanks, buddy.
Hashtag love hearts.
And that is my theory.
There we go. So we've got a nice Jenny in this series.
Yeah.
There you go.
And now if episode 3, they show you the boss and it's not her, I look like an idiot. So let's hope they wait till at least episode 7.
Love wins out. There you go.
Chris's crazy theory.
There it is.
That's the equivalent, isn't it? When we all learned, live long and prosper back in the day.
Yeah, that's
the new one.
That's right. But it has to be something like that.
Talking of which, Mr. Fleet, I got some reading to do. But just waiting 1 to 3. Obviously, I can't start this. That wouldn't be right. Yeah, it's not a manga, as he said. It's a novel, so I actually have to read.
Is that with the last one you reviewed with him?
Yeah, Boogie Pop.
Boogie Pop.
Boogie Pop. The series was Boogie Pop Phantom, but this is the story behind before Boogie Pop Phantom, apparently. And it might not twist my brain as much if I actually read it. Because we've got Boogie Pop and others on the list. So it's like, no, I'm not doing that again. I'm going to read some stuff.
Nice.
I'm sick and tired getting into these. That's 3 of them now. I'm just going... trying to work out the plot. Because I haven't read 70 issues of a manga series.
That looks like a big commitment. That's a big book. Yeah. Good for you, man. Yeah.
Yeah. That's 4 to 6. There's still 1 to 3. It should be arriving tomorrow.
I know.
Or Saturday. One of the days.
Nice.
It's the next 2 days, the 1 to 3 is arriving. So that's that twice over to do.
Is there a Cliff Notes version for viewers like myself?
That's why you tune into the streams.
Oh, okay.
Because that's what we'll break it down about 6 or 7 hours.
Oh, good.
Still have more questions. But yeah, back to that. So now we know why Ash still has a job, because that's the most confusing thing in this, or had a job.
Right? Wouldn't
but
that make sense? I mean, that we don't know what happened to Jenny, and she probably rose to the ranks as the Nike and Disney and many people started as interns.
If you survive Deadites, then yeah, you get a bit more of a backbone, don't you? And you can tackle anything.
Yeah, maybe they're still stooping, as the kids say. Maybe behind the scenes, him and her occasionally have a tryst, and that's why she keeps him around.
Yeah, she decides to meet him at the bar that he races to.
Yeah.
Oh dear. But yeah, Kung Fu Dolly. Like,
Oh,
there's no
that was
messing about.
great. That was great. That reminded me of the little Ashes beating him up. And,
yes. It's like a homage to that, and you're like, yeah. And I love the way he reacts to see him as he did back in the day.
Yes. Over the top, completely
nonchalantly, just right. Okay, you bastards again, right? And let's go for
it. Yeah. Oh, that was great. I was really impressed because I didn't expect that level of production value in a TV show. Like, that was just as good as the movie.
Apparently, they were writing a movie. This was going to be a movie, but they were having trouble getting funding. And the thing is, after Army of Darkness, how the hell could Sam Raimi not get funding for anything? For this series, it's very strange. Obviously, hanging out in the wrong circles.
Yeah.
But there you go.
If you think
crowdfunding wasn't really a thing. Like, honestly, if they were going to do an Evil Dead anything involving Ash Williams, even they were talking about doing an animated one, crowdfunded, and we'll all be like, how much do you need?
Yeah.
Like, I guarantee, like, the actual Evil Dead fan base would fund it and no bother, and he wouldn't have to go near an executive.
Yeah. If you think about all the Leprechaun, the Sharknadoes, how many movies get made and different horror franchises, like, this should be one that should be so easy to get greenlit.
It's very
and you don't need like a big cast. It's not like a returning cast, because I think that's one of the biggest expenses when you have sequels is if you have to bring everybody back, then it becomes more expensive every movie because they always want raises.
Yep.
and that's not always reflected in the box office. Oftentimes sequels make 70 to 80% of the first one.
Yeah,
so you have so there's always increasing salaries and decreasing returns. But in this case, it's really just him. You could have a completely different cast in the movie.
Still only 2 sequels in the history of cinema. Somebody can correct me if I think I'm wrong, that have actually made more money than the original. That's Aliens, Terminator 2.
That's
it. In all the history of cinema. Possibly, I think the Lord of the Rings series. Oh God, when we covered it. No, the Lord of the Rings series, but then that was a full story. And
yeah,
the way Peter Jackson filmed it, it was the same budget. So it's not like the budget. He kept it under 100 million because he filmed it back to back. So he basically kept the same budget for each of the trilogy because he filmed it as an entire thing. I think that in those 2 movies, that's it. And honestly, yeah, would you call yeah, because back to the Star things, did we know it was a trilogy back in the day?
Oh, Star Wars?
Yeah.
So I think by the time Empire
back in the day.
Yeah, I think by the time Empire Strikes Back came out, I think you knew that there was going to be a third one at that point. But if you take inflation out of it, I think even that one,
I don't think they did as well.
Yeah, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I mean, the original was such a phenomenon that I can't imagine. Yeah, I don't know for sure.
I think it was later on afterwards. So
yeah,
honestly, in terms of movies and a movie sequel, the only 2 to ever buck the trend were Aliens and Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Everything else has been, as you said, yeah, people could revisit later on. But this is coming out in the box office.
Yeah. Oh, you could be right. Yeah. And even if there is an exception to the rule here or there, the point's still
Well, that's
valid.
the point. I mean, the exception is
Yeah.
a rule. Every rule has
Yeah.
exceptions. So
Yeah.
it just proves the point that, over, like, what are we at? 125 years of cinema at this point.
Yeah.
It's not a thing for sequels.
But the point is well made. That the fact that Sam Raimi couldn't get more sequels done of this when he wanted to is criminal, because it's such a beloved franchise and it's not an expensive one to create, because it's really only just one star.
Yeah, but this is the attitude of movie studios towards horror as a genre. It's blatant, thumbing their nose down at it, yet they need it. Because horror's kept the
Right.
cinema doors open. Because look over the last 5 years, at least. What are the movies that have done well?
Yeah,
It's
horror.
not been the Capes and Kyle stuff. It's not been the rom-coms, because there are hardly any of those. It's not,
Yeah.
it's not been any of the action movies. They've all done, meh.
Yeah.
They're all tired and done. Like, they're not doing fantastic. There's that latest one, Ballerina, that just fell on its arse, trying to catch off John Wick, and even had John Wick in it because it couldn't even do it. It wasn't even strong enough without bringing him back
Right.
into it. So yeah, and that fell on its arse. You're seeing it all the time, except for horror movies.
Yeah.
Because horror creators know they have to work on a shoestring, and they know they're fighting against the odds. So there's that need to put that bit of extra oomph in it, because the odds are stacked against you.
I also think horror movies lend itself to the communal experience of being in a room together with other people and hearing everyone scream at the same time, or if it's a horror comedy like this, laugh at the same time. Like, being at home by yourself has its, pluses sometimes, but it's not the same experience.
Yeah.
I do think horror movies, more than any other genre,
Well,
really
they were
lend
the golden child of the VHS rental days. That's what you got when you're having your mates around on a Friday night. Whoever's house it was, you got the horror movie.
right. And even though it was at home, you still have that communal experience.
Yeah, because
Like I think
that's the
they
time. You got everybody around. You got the
yeah,
VHS player going on.
yeah. I just think it lends itself to that. Yeah, like you could watch like a rom-com at home, with a loved one or something like that. And the way TVs are at home, you could watch a sci-fi and it looks almost as good.
Mhm.
But that horror experience of being, with other people is really adds to it. So I can see why it's done well compared to the rest of the industry.
Yeah, but it still gets thumbed down the nose. People still look down their nose at it. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, it'll never change. And part of me doesn't want it to change, if that makes sense. Because if it becomes mainstream, then it gets diluted
Right.
and stops being what it is. Like
I can see that.
the really off the cuff jokes and the near the knuckle stuff in this series, and it gets worse.
Yeah.
Like that's you wouldn't get away with that anywhere else.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, it's something weird. Like it's just like I said, it'll never change. It's the people, the suits behind the movie industry. They're so straight laced. Like the least fun people are in charge of the fun properties. It's a very strange dichotomy. Like,
Yeah.
people that fund movies and get involved with entertainment really shouldn't, but they do.
Yeah.
So,
That's true.
but yeah, we've got Kung Fu Dolly, and then Pablo gets introduced to the Evil Dead world. I just love
And
the fact that Spade comes out and just splat, and it doesn't even crack. It's like splat.
It's a quality product from Value Smart. That's a good advertisement for that. For that Spade. Yeah, and I love that his hero worship only, it grew in spades, as it were, after that, because now he actually sees the real Ash. He always thought, "Where's Steven? Where's Steven? Get him on the phone." But yeah, now that he actually sees Ash in action, it's even more so, which I love. I love that mentor mentee relationship that builds.
I love the fact as well that when he's doing the flashback scenes, we get cuts from the actual movie. That was great.
I didn't expect that.
Projector across the back, it's not shying away or trying to hide from it, which a lot of like late sequels and requels and stuff do. It's like they try to pretend that the original doesn't exist. I'm showing my vision, even though I'm stealing a property from something better. I think that's a lot to do with Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell being at the helm of this.
Yeah. I also think sometimes you run into issues with the rights. Like you have the rights to certain characters.
That's why you can't have the full collection, because Army of Darkness is still owned by a separate studio.
See? So there's an example.
When you have the Groovy collection, you can only get Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2, and the Ash vs. Evil Dead series, because the other studio, I can't remember who they are, will not relinquish the rights to the Ash vs. Army of Darkness. They will not give it over.
Yeah. So you run into stuff like that, which is why you don't see it. So that's why I was surprised to see that, and I thought it was great. And I hope they use that, those flashbacks throughout the series, because I think it's a fun reminder, especially for someone like myself who may not have seen the movies in years, that, oh, okay, that's what this is referencing from that moment, So it's a good technique. I hope they come back to that.
Yeah, a lot of fun. But yeah, we got Pablo. He gets introduced. Ash fills him in, and then they've got to leave. And then, of course, we'll have the Kandarian demon just. And it's all about to kick off, and it's great.
Do you think the manager bought it? It looked like it. It looked like that something zooms right into his mouth.
See, that's the thing. Retail managers don't have souls, so I don't know how they can be inhabited by demons or possessed.
That's fair.
Like, yeah. I feel my life essence drip away every time I go into work. It's like, I'll do this shit again. Oh god, today I was like ready to just throw it down. Just have one of them days. I'm like, would you just go away? I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
What to do? Sorry, you're lonely and sad, and this is the only place to come. But fuck off.
Yeah. So maybe he's still around for that's a good point. I didn't think of that.
There's another thing as well with Kelly's character. They could have made her girl boss to hell, and really unlikable, but they didn't. She jumps on Pablo's bike. She can't get it started.
Yeah.
She's actually being vulnerable. Like, she's spunky in that, it's great, but she's also not afraid to be vulnerable. And then when Pablo jumps on the bike and starts it, first time, because obviously it's his bike, he knows the quirks and stuff. The zip off. You know what I mean? Those little scenes make Kelly more likable and more relatable.
It was a great touch. And I think had Kelly or even Pablo been, more proficient in any way at killing, at fighting, at whatever, I think it diminishes from Ash. I think I love the choice they made to keep those characters realistic and like you said, not girl boss, not, excel in any way, because it really just elevates how cool, Ash is in relation to them. So I think that was a smart choice for the show.
Yeah, because this culture of, oh, here's the hero, here's the character that built the franchise, let's piss all over them.
Yeah.
Which we've seen literally happen in movies. It's shit.
Yeah.
And it just leaves a bad, leaves a bit of resentment. Not like, why are you doing that? There's no need.
Yeah. Think of every movie that's come out in the last 10 years where they've brought back an iconic character from the 80s and 90s. There's always a younger character that can do everything they can do, but more.
Yeah.
And they use the older character as a way of saying, well, remember this character, how great he was? Well, look what this character could do. She's even greater. And instead of it elevating the new character, it just insults and pisses on the old character that you loved and is the reason that you're watching the movie. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think they made some smart choices with this.
And that's the whole hero's journey. this is Ash has to like get back in the saddle again, but he's in passing the torch mode, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But Kelly and Pablo, as is quite obvious, are going to be the team. They've got to go through their hero's journey. They've got to meet their failures. They've got to face their challenges. They've got to overcome them. We've got to warm up to them because they're new characters. So yeah, they can't be kicking arse straight away. They've got to be fumbling. They've got to be learning the ropes. They've got to be getting their heads around this universe that Ash has known for 40 plus years at this point.
Right. Yeah. Smart choices. Yeah.
Taylor is just honestly like that is how you bring a character back. The four.
Yes.
You reawaken the hero.
Yeah, I'm lockstep with you on this. 100%. They crushing it. Yeah.
Just the whole right. I'm getting out of here. He's hitching himself up. I love a way even before he goes, freaking poor Vivian. Like it's not even like could you do a few things, and he hands her the gloves and all. Right, get right in there, clean the septic tank and stuff. Like,
not just could you water my plants.
Yeah,
could you clean the septic tank? Could you do
the whole thing? Yeah,
it's so great.
But only an Ash type character can get away with that shit. You know what I mean?
You get the impression that they I don't know if he actually did anything with her, but he at least flirted with her enough.
No, it's it's just the idea, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the idea. Yeah. That was great.
But oh my god, the scene like the Kandarian demon takes over one of his neighbors who hates his guts anyway. And yeah, we get the trapdoor with the boomstick, you know. And that just rips off. We've got the blue shirt again, the iconic blue shirt. We're just back to business. And then the same with Kelly, who just has a wobble at that moment. And she's just like, yeah, I'm gonna jump your bones. There you go. You know, and this time when he touches her, she's like, what's happening to me? You know, just confused her brain. What's happening to me?
They say that happens, right? You know, the endorphins, your life and death situation. You know, this guy just saved your life, and you know.
But we got a bit of because obviously Pablo talks about his uncle who's the Bruja, and they always talk about the hero El Jefe. That's obviously the title of the episode, you know. Right. And he now truly believes that Ash is El Jefe.
Yeah, I'd like that addition to the lore. I wonder if they'll add to that. If there's more to specifics to the lore of El Jefe, like El Jefe is supposed to vanquish this, or they're supposed to do that. You know, I wonder if they'll use that again as a story beat.
I'm trying not to spoil it for you, for frick's sake.
Oh, okay. All right.
Let's just say nothing is wasted.
Okay. So there is
nothing here is dropped at random. Like everything is utilized to the most.
Okay. All right, I'm on to something.
This is actually, it's all about payoffs, which a lot of things have forgotten. Yeah, we get payoffs. Like you have to sort of watch this, and it's funny when you watch it again because you're like, oh yes, I know that's going. Yeah, they dropped that in there. Oh yes, it's one of them series.
Yeah,
which is clever. You know what I mean? That's
an
actual clever series.
I started to do some research into the pilot just to have, more to bring to the table for the review. And then I had to stop because they couldn't just stop at the pilot review. They started to mention things that were going to happen. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I have to stop. But one thing I did read before I stopped is they were saying that in creating the series, there was a lot of scripts that never got made into movies that were just in like a pile somewhere, in Sam Raimi's desk, some of them which he wrote himself, some of that other people suggested to him. And so they used a lot of those potential Evil Dead storylines in this, which was great because he had years worth of, plots for episodes coming up, as opposed to like, someone just in a room, like trying to figure out, oh, we have 2 months, we got to go into production. We got to do something. And you know what I mean? Like having more time always makes for better writing.
Yeah, and that's it. And having a vision and having the glue, like I've always said, once something becomes the potential of a series, you need a lore master.
Yeah.
Once you go past a sequel, you need a lore master, because once you start building, that's it. You need somebody in charge of the actual lore, and everything has to go through their desk, or else you're
Yeah.
stuffed. You've no continuity.
Yeah.
And we've seen that loads of times. But yeah, his neighbor, he sorts him out, and then of course we're going for the chainsaw, the la la la. We see it all light up.
Iconic, most iconic weapon maybe in horror history.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think what would compete with that. The claws, I guess, of Freddy Krueger,
or Michael's knife, or Jason's machete. You know, there's not much.
Yeah, I mean the chainsaw has got to be up there at the top. Yeah, it was great. It was great, and I loved how much they used it and they leaned into it.
Yeah, because like I said, we all know what we're in for, and they're not shying away from it. Like, you know, way people go, "Oh, fan service," and like, no, that's the whole point. It's called serving the customer. And this is what we want. We
Yeah,
just want it done well, and we don't want to see a stripped down version or a character we don't know just being a different Ash. Like that's the two things that annoy me about the remake and Evil Dead Rise, is they just use the same stuff.
okay.
Oh, here you go, key jangle, here's another chainsaw, blah blah blah. Use like that silly fans, you know. You're like, no, if you're going to do something different, do something different. But you know,
Yeah, I think a key difference between getting it right and like just fan service or member berries, or I think you call them, is you have to use it in the plot. It has to have a value and importance to the story. And obviously this is his main weapon, and it's part of his backstory as a character that he lost his hand and now he has that hole that he puts a chainsaw in. But if they were like, compare it to like some movies where they bring back an actor from the original movie and they just have them in a scene and they say one line and that's it. And it's like, hey, remember everybody watching? Remember this guy from the original movie?
they're
It
doing
wasn't
it.
like
They're doing
that.
it the next 28 years later, the Bone Temple or something. They're going to do it with Cillian Murphy. They're bringing him back for a scene.
Oh, just for a
Just
scene. Yeah.
yeah, just because.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, go away.
No, yeah, that I don't like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm already
It has
out,
to have it has to have value to the story and it has to belong, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love when he pulls back the curtain and we get Vivian again. I love the fact as well they're using proper old school Deadite makeup. They're using a bit of CGI, but they're still using proper stuff from back in the day.
Yeah, the CGI was minimal, which is perfect. They did it judiciously. It blended in, and you didn't mind it. It was mostly practical, and it absolutely worked well. That fight scene was hilarious, but also had an edge of, tension and scariness to it.
Mhm.
Like it's not over the top silly. Like it, Pablo gets stabbed. Like she's inches away from clawing through Kelly's eyes. Like the balance is perfect. The balance is perfect.
Yep. Until you get the scene where Pablo kicks the chainsaw.
Yeah, that might have defied physics a little bit, but you know what?
Who cares? Who cares? It's like we're having fun.
Yeah.
And then that's us. Battle 1, and of course, Groovy. End of.
Groovy.
That's all I needed to say. That's it. Job done.
Yeah.
We're hooked.
Perfect pilot. Absolutely. Yep. I'm in for the whole series after that. Yeah.
Yeah. I like what they played with. Bait was quite cool. Once again, they're not slowing anything down. They're carrying on the story.
Yeah, it's a great point. A lot of times a pilot was filmed a year or months before the show gets picked up. and it's a separate entity, and it's done with a better director, better lighting, better production, because you basically has to present it to the studio to see if they're going to buy the rest of the series or at least buy more episodes. So often what will happen is that the pilot kind of stands alone, and then you get to the first regular episode, and all of a sudden the director is different, the lighting is worse, the production value is worse, because it wasn't the pilot which was used to entice the studio to buy. This felt like one continuous story. Bait and El Jefe felt like one long episode. It was continuous. It flowed, well. Everything looked the same. So I was very pleased with that.
Yeah. This is about as well. Callie basically finds out that her dead mother's come back to life. It's like, okay, that's not going to end well. But we'll play along.
Yeah, not to skip ahead, but I loved Ash's take on that and how dismissive he was to the mom. Oh, it was so great.
Yeah, and of course, he's got to go tape up the bullet holes. And you're like, really? It's a trailer. Nobody'd notice.
Yeah, no, I love it. The fact that this is his home and he's been there for 30 years, and it's great. It's great how little his character has changed. It's just refreshing.
But a big telling thing is the fact that he has the shotgun, in a secret compartment, and he has the chainsaw. He's been ready. He knows this is coming. He's been in denial, but he's never switched off completely. And
yeah, I thought
Captain Necronomicon as well.
Yeah, readily accessible. By the way, it's not like locked or in a safe or anything. But no, that's a good point. Like, even though he's lived his life and he seems happy and well adjusted, like, you can't have gone through what he went through in those 3 movies and not be thinking about it even 30 years later. So yeah, the fact that he's got the chainsaw ready, the shotgun, and ready to go at any moment is telling. Yeah.
Fun times. So of course his priority now is to go and get the book translated, to get the spell, to fix it all. At the occult bookshop that he just rang, goes, "Here, I've got the book in human blood, bound in flesh. Do you mind translating it?" "Yeah, no problem. Come on over." Just
it was such
blasé,
casual, conversation. And he's like surprised that the guy remembered. "Remember the book Bound in Human Flesh?" "Oh yeah, I do." Yeah, how could you forget that?
Yeah. And of course, Callie grabs the bike. She wants to go see her mother, because that's, once again, this is showing her as a vulnerable character. Well, it's her mother, and she's not girl boss. She's just like, right, I gotta go see my mum. That's it. Obviously she's traumatized by her mother's disappearance, as we find out. They didn't actually find her body.
Yeah.
And it's deeply affected her, and it's just like the fact we see that humanity.
Yeah, I thought it was very realistic, Kelly's reactions. I think that would be all of us. That even if deep down, the truth, you want to believe the lie, because the lie is comforting. So I thought that was very believable, and Kelly's acting in it. The actress was great in those scenes. Yeah, good acting for a comedy horror. Like, I thought everything was. Nothing stood out to me as like, oh gosh, like that acting was terrible. I thought everyone was comparable, and even the mom was good in those scenes.
Yeah, everyone's on board.
Yeah,
no one's down the end. They're all invested in it. That's great.
Yeah, and the dad was funny. He's just kind of like very laid back, even though Ash is abusing the wife.
But here's the thing. You don't just quit when you've got a demon boss. Like, that's it. You just don't leave. That's getting sorted out. You're going to HR, or in his case, he's just going to hide in the backseat of your car. Like, we were not expecting that.
No, I didn't see that coming. And the boss says, "I always hated you." That was a great little battle scene. And I like when he sticks his head out the window and the truck pops it. Yeah. So that seems to be the only way to kill these Deadites, right? Is you got to take the head off.
Through the head. You got to take the head off. And sometimes it
Yeah.
doesn't even, like, if you remember Cheryl, even when she gets her head taken off, it doesn't make a difference.
Mm. Okay, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing as well. That he's just tiled himself down. He's all Pablo's covered in blood, and he's
When
got
they
his.
come to the house.
He just
Oh,
has
that,
a little toilet.
and then what did they say? They said, "Oh yeah, we hit a deer, and then as we
Yeah.
were cleaning the deer, it exploded." And the dad's like, "I've been hunting for years. I've never seen a deer explode."
He's
And then
you're hunting the wrong deer.
what?
He doesn't miss a beat.
It's
I
great.
think that's it. It's a quick dialogue, and not giving you. It's not over laboring it. It's just going for it. Ash will not be vibrated. He has one direction, and he's just going through, and he'll not be stopped
Yeah,
for anything.
yeah, for sure.
And once again, we all need a bit of that. That's sometimes you need to just strap on the bravado and go for it, because why not?
Yeah, that dinner scene though was so great. Just how
Yeah.
rude he was to the mom. That was awesome.
But then also we're getting set up again for Fisher. We'll go back to Fisher. She goes back to the trailer park, looking around, and it turns out, yeah, there's something weird going on. I don't know if they found, I can't remember the neighbor's name, but I don't know if they found his body or something. Oh, they did. Yeah, sorry, they did.
Yeah.
And this is the bit our bosses go, "What are you doing in an active crime scene? You're off. We might suspect you of killing your
You're
partner and some
I was
rando."
just yeah, you're a murder suspect. What are you
Yeah.
doing? Yeah. Which I thought was great. And I like when the neighbors were showing a sketch and it's clearly Ash. And they're like, yeah, but he looks dumber in real life.
Yeah.
So I love, like I said it about the first episode, I love how Bruce Campbell is in on the joke and he's willing to do these jokes or plot points that are making fun of him. You know what I mean? For someone who portrays such bravado, the fact that he's comfortable, there would be a lot of actors that were like, no, take that line out. I don't want anyone saying that I look dumb or that I'm 30 pounds overweight. Like, don't put that in.
Yeah, but
The
that's
fact
all
that he's
part of the joke. That's
I know, and I love that. I just love that he's in on the joke, and he's got a good sense of humor.
But I think that's the reason why he's beloved. I
I
think
agree.
the other person I got's William Shatner.
Yeah,
William Shatner's got sharp as a tack in his 90s still, and doesn't give a shit. Just, wants to live life and be treated decently, and I'm treating you decently, and that do the same to you. And Bruce Campbell's exactly the same.
yeah. I agree.
But yeah, Fisher, when we see the hand, the body just pointing towards the card for the bookstore.
Yeah, that was helpful. Nothing like a helpful Deadite hand.
Well, I think it is. They want her to take him out. You know what I mean? I think that's where we're getting to the point. They're obviously playing a game. They're setting it all up.
Yeah. But it's weird, like the way they set it up in the first movie, it looked like it was hell on earth. We had that giant. They had the on the TV screen. It showed that there was this giant sinkhole,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like evil was coming out, and then the manager gets attacked, and then we have deadites everywhere. That's what it seemed like. And then now this seems to have taken it back a step. We're like, no, it's only in the areas where Ash is near. Which I guess is better because you can't, in the beginning of a new show, have the evil deadites everywhere in the world. It wouldn't work as well. So it was. I like that they're compartmentalizing. It's only near him. It's not everywhere yet.
And the rest of them they haven't twigged on. But Fisher's on the case. You know what I mean? She's dialed in, and then Rose has primed her as well.
Yeah.
That brief meeting they had.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the whole thing of this episode's the dinner scene. Just absolute quality. Like that's 100% character acting straight away.
Yeah. That's why when we talk about horror movies and like production and stuff like that, like you don't need a big budget. Like this all took place in one place, and it was gold. Like that whole dinner scene, like you said, was hysterical, and it was awesome. Just all the conversations, all the looks where Ash is trying to get Pablo to look at the mom, and then he finally like hits her, and then and then he's like, "Oh, good. I'm glad that she turned into a deadite. I was beginning to feel like a dick."
Yeah.
Because up till now, you thought he was 100% sure.
Yeah.
And then he has that moment of, "Oh, good."
Because the mom's playing the game, you know what I mean? It's basically a game of chicken, isn't it? Who's going to swear first?
Yeah, yeah. He's relieved.
Yeah. And yeah, Pablo, you're young, dumb, and full of conflicting emotions. Like,
yeah. It's great. It's great writing.
there's a running joke as well. I remember Dana, the actress that plays Kelly, getting interviewed, talking about how like her hair was actually starting to feel as if it was getting pulled out of her head because of the dried blood. It's like every time everyone gets cleaned up, they get drenched in blood like the next scene. There's no, and this does not change, by the way. That's not a major spoiler. That's people spend 90% of these episodes drenched in blood. Big blood soaked, like
nice.
But yeah, of course, Kelly's mom reveals herself, and then that all ensues and goes as insane as you'd expect. What was it about with the ball? Yeah, that's right, because he hands Pablo the ball. I've sharpened it for you. For this Russian. That's all scenes of got, is just keeps you going.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is it. This is it. Mom, dad gets killed. Gotta get him out of the way. Kelly nearly gets killed. They finally take care of the Deadite, and that's basically it. This is the team, which we knew because we're getting teased a wee bit that Kelly mightn't have joined, but now we know this is the team.
Yeah, I like the scene even in the bedroom where the mom, has her, and it was like you just saw the mom turn into this creature and kill your dad. Like, would you really believe that she's gone back to becoming your mom? But Kelly made it. She sold it for me. The actress sold it for me in that scene because she's like, look, she's fighting it. My mom is in there.
Yeah.
And then Ash is like, no, it's too late. Or I forget exactly what he said, but yeah, it all was acted beautifully. It felt real, which adds to the comedy. Because like you always said, you have to buy the premise before you could do the crazy stuff,
Yeah.
And everything is done. The acting, the boring stuff is done so well that when you get to the horror, when you get to the comedy, everything feels real because they've done the boring stuff perfectly. Yeah,
and that's it. All the little moments in between, like I said, the vulnerable moments.
Yeah, that's
like,
a better way to put
it. You meet Kelly for the first time, you're not too sure. By this episode, you're feeling for her. You're like, oh my god, she just got her world ripped apart, and she just had a wound reopened that she hadn't quite healed from, and in the most horrible way possible. And the only person who's going to save her is this freaking boomer, misogynist, just stoner, lazy bastard who just doesn't give a shit about life. But that's somebody told me somebody talking about writing. If you're trying to write the edgelord, which Ash is borderline edgelord, I know he does it like with the bravado and stuff, like a bro dude, but he is like the edgelord character. Doesn't care about anything, pretends he doesn't give a shit, all out for his own gratification.
Yeah.
But deep down, once again, back to the trailer, that scene at the end of episode 1, the fact that he has the shotgun primed and everything will have to be oiled and, everything else looks like shit, but that thing works perfectly. He tests that. The shotgun, the chainsaw is there ready to go with other weapons. He's been ready for this all this time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Doesn't go away. The the leather of his strap is subtle. You know what I mean? It's been replaced. It's not like old and tatty. Like, you know, if you leave leather and you don't take care of it, it gets, you know, just mangled and falls to bits.
Dry and like flaky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
this is all, you know, if it hasn't been changed to, you know, regular basis, he still has this practiced. You know, he was ready to go. And that's how you do the edgelord, you know, right? That the machismo is the coping mechanism,
hmm
but
But the
he knows this
funny,
was coming.
yeah, no, you're right. He definitely does. But the funny part is that he still brought it on when he got high and read the book
Yeah.
to impress a girl. So it just having that in the back of my mind as all this horror takes place and like, wow, he's going through a lot. And then like in the back of my mind, oh yeah, he started all this.
But I
'Cause he
think at
wanted,
some point it was going to happen.
oh,
Do
it
you know
was
what I mean?
great. It was great. It was great.
Yeah.
But like even like the girl's dad would be fine if he hadn't gotten high and read the book. So I don't know if that's gonna come up in a conversation later on, and she's gonna find out and be pretty pissed. But the dad would still be around.
Hash is
That's
the
an
edgelord, utter edgelord, what's the word? Exactly. That's the
Yeah.
perfect edgelord character. You know, that's it. It's all bravado. It's all the mask, the deep trauma of how else would you either break or you know, you become like Ash. How do you deal with like what he's dealt with in the 3 movies?
Yeah, yeah,
And knowing that in the back of your head that this is always round the corner.
yeah.
But even the same, like, here's an example as well of this being like, this isn't that long ago. But even the jokes about the religion, the fact that he makes the crosses, and Kelly's like, you know, my parents were Jewish, and like, wish you told me that before you let me
I'm
make these crosses.
I make these dumb crosses.
Yeah.
She had said something, if I made these dumb crosses.
It just straight
Oh,
away, always a riposte, and like, yeah.
yeah, that was a great comeback. Yeah, you're right. It's amazing in 10 years even how much sensibilities have changed. That line would have been cut for sure.
But once again, what's wrong with that joke?
Nothing. That's just that there's
What's
certain topics.
disrespectful about that joke?
Yeah, nothing. Nothing. But there's certain topics that are just off limits, and
Which
it's
should not be for comedy. Comedy
no
should have no boundaries. That's the whole point of it. If you cannot look
right,
and poke fun at yourself, you're in trouble.
right, absolutely, yeah. And if it's mean spirited, here's an idea. You don't listen to it anymore.
No,
You
but if it's
personally
mean
switch to
spirited, you wouldn't
something.
laugh. Once again, we've seen a lot of mean spirited comedy. Like you
Yeah,
said, when they bring back the old hero and they denigrate them and the piss and everything that was before.
yeah,
We've seen that multiple times with loads of different properties and franchises. We know what mean spirited is, and guess what? People turn off. Hence why you have
yeah.
to have the
Absolutely.
mob to go, you're an est, you're a phobe, we hate this. No, people can tell when something's meant with malice. You
Right.
know it deep in your core, but something's actually meant as a joke, and it's meant to be. That's what Brotherhood's about as well. Is that people just rip the piss out of each other because it's that whole breakdown. Don't take yourself too seriously,
Yeah.
because it's the most dangerous thing you can ever do as a person.
Yeah. But my point is that when it comes to comedy, like if you as a viewer don't find something particularly funny, or even worse, you find it offensive, I don't understand why you can't just change a channel and watch something else. The fact that people take it to another level, and I want that person canceled, I want them to lose their job. Like, I just don't understand that mentality. Like, if it's not for you, it's not for you.
So there's a difference between I don't get the joke that everybody else is laughing at
Right.
to I'm offended. So if I don't get the joke, you're an outsider, you don't, you know what I mean, you're not clued in, you're lesser, you're not one of the gang. I'm offended means, oh, I'm taking a stance against this. I'm powerful. I'm better than the gang. You know, it's a mental switch.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If that makes sense. The
Yeah.
whole thing of pearl clutching and stuff, you know, it's a proactive thing of you know, it's all about power at the end of the day.
Right,
And
right.
usually the people that employ that, they don't have charisma. They don't have power known world, because that's what they rely on.
Yeah.
And it's the only way to get. You've met that person. My life. I've got, and then they make stuff up. Oh, I've got this, and they'll have liver cancer one day, but it'll be cleared up with a couple of antacids, by lunchtime. That's the extremes to go to, and we've all met that person.
Right, right, right.
Do you know what I mean? That's just
Yeah.
the way, because they don't know how to make a genuine human connection, and that frustration leads to being acting out. The problem is, you could understand it, but also you have to understand that these people are dangerous.
Yeah.
If you don't check yourself, that's one of the things. If you don't have that self awareness, you're a dangerous person, because all you lead around you is destruction. And as we've seen over the last 10 years, the more that sort of person's pandered to, it's never enough, because they're broken inside. It's like you can't feed the narcissist. The narcissist has something broken inside them. They have a hole that will never be filled. So you can never give them enough affirmation, attention, adulation, whatever it is, because they're empty.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a famous poet once said, if you don't check yourself, you'll wreck yourself.
Yep.
You know what? That might have been a rapper, now that I think about it. I don't know if that was a poet.
Still works.
But it still works, so
yeah. That still works. I can go out there. That's straight to the point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's true today. Yeah, and then of course we get the setup. Fisher arrives at the bookstore first. So she's going to be lying in wait for Ash, Kelly, and Pablo.
Yeah, this was tough to click off. I was.
I know. It's
the next episode. It's a great setup for a third episode. Yeah, I'm telling you, I could have been happier with these first two. I'm so glad we're doing the series. I'm hooked. Like I said, I laughed my ass off. It was very well done, and it definitely a breath of fresh air compared to what else is out there nowadays. And you've said it before, if you don't like what entertainment has been putting out lately, whatever genre you're into, be it horror, sci-fi, if you don't like what's coming out, there's nothing wrong with like looking back at something you missed, or maybe something that you enjoyed, but now it's been over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for people who haven't seen this, or people who haven't seen it in a while, it's definitely worth checking out again. It's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. Yeah.
There's such a back catalog. Like there's more entertainment out there we could watch in 100 lifetimes.
Yeah.
And there's hidden gems like what was it? Night of the Creeps. Hadn't seen that in donkey's years. Steve and I did it, and we forgot how great a movie that was.
Good example. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That was one, but it just got buried. It was just one of the movies that got buried because there's so much top tier stuff coming out that year.
Yeah.
So yeah, go back and read. Oh, bloody hell, that was good.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, there's some what was I going to say? Yeah, there's some stinkers out there too. You revisit, you're like, oh my god, that was terrible.
Yeah.
But that's fair enough. It's still better than this soulless stuff being put out today. So the only way to learn is you just don't react. You don't play their game. If they want to put out shite, fair enough. See ya.
Right.
I'm going to back catalog. And that's why people are banned, because the streaming services are trying to cancel everything. That's why people are going back to DVDs and physical media.
Yeah.
Okay, right. You're going to take everything off of streaming services. Okay, see ya. I'm going back. God, we see what I picked up actually. This is a classic. Got this for £2 today.
Oh,
Sean
cool.
Bean at his finest.
That's great.
All the Sharp series. Don't know if you're familiar with that. This is Sean Bean, his first TV show.
Vaguely, okay.
It's the only reason I watched Game of Thrones, by the way, because I saw Sean Bean with a sword on a horse. I'm like, oh, we're going to get Sharp again.
Oh, okay. That's why he looked familiar to me. Yeah.
No, that's it's set during the Napoleonic Wars. And basically, Sharp is he gets commissioned as an officer through the ranks. It's based in the Bernard Cornell books, and love it. That's for the if you ever hear the joke, bastard, because he says bastard every episode. They're like mini movies. They're not really like TV episodes. They're like mini movies.
Yeah, but it's about the Napoleonic Wars.
It's during the Napoleonic Wars, and he's basically he starts off with a lieutenant in the rifles. You know, he gets commissioned from a police sergeant. Gets
very cool.
And then just all the heroic deeds. You know? Yeah, I saw this one as well. I'm gonna have to check that out. It's probably gonna be shit.
Ouija.
But yeah, I'll do that. I'm not a fan of Tom Hanks, but this is a bloody good movie.
Green Mile's great.
Yeah, it's always worth a rewatch. It's one of them.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And we are doing this sometime. This had to be done.
Piranha 3D. All
yeah,
right.
we have to do that.
I mean, how could you go wrong? It says it right on the top. Jawsome.
Yeah. That's one, you know what I mean? This is cheesy as hell.
Yeah.
But it's made with the intention of, we're gonna have some fun.
Okay. I'm down.
You know what I mean? That's just the intention behind it. We're gonna have some fun.
Sounds good, buddy.
There you go. We're back to Wishmaster. Next time, Wishmaster. Oh god, this one's brilliant. You'll love this one.
I feel like it's been a year since we watched the first one. Yeah.
I know, it feels like forever, doesn't it?
Yeah. I gotta rewatch our review to catch up on what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Wishmaster 2. Yeah, you're gonna I think it's the best one out of the series of movies. Even better than the first one.
Sweet.
You'll see why I'm not spoiled it if you haven't seen it.
Okay. Cool.
They take it up a notch. Oh, yep. Yeah, Wishmaster 2. It's the best out of the four of them, isn't it? Yeah, it's just magic, especially for a sequel. Nice. That's it. Great as always to catch up and do these things. Always laugh. Thanks for everybody who tuned in, and just sees me to say, until next time, keep up the other channel, do the technical things, and remember to keep it creepy, keep it horrific.
Hail to the